So, if you are like me, an avid fan of hip hop, an avid fan of movies and cinema, pop culture, and that portion of cinema just so happens to be catered to comic book films, then you are just as geeked as I am when the new trailer, the official first trailer for Black Panther came out this past Monday. So as of this recording, as of this broadcast, it is Friday, so the trailer has been out for about, 4 days now, give or take. And first and foremost, holy shit, that trailer was insane. One of the best trailers I've seen in a long time. I thought the first official trailer for Captain America Civil War was dope, but this right here was crazy. And even that trailer, the teaser trailer that was released way back in June, I even thought that was dope. This was sick because now we actually had a lot more dialogue being exchanged within this trailer. And also the music was perfect. You had the song Bag Back by Vince Staples, and there's some interpolation of The Revolution Will Not Be Televised by Gil Scott-Heron, which is absolutely dope. That was made just for the trailer, and I think they incorporated it very well. What I want to talk about is not how dope the trailer is, because we all know that. We've had 4 or 5 days to digest that now. I want to talk about why this movie is so important to cinema. I want to talk about what it means to black people specifically. I'm sure there are going to be people outside the black community who are going to be excited for it because it's an action movie, it's a comic book movie like they've never seen before, and that alone has them excited, which I'm very happy for. That's cool. But I want people to know why this means so much to the black community. I'm going to break it down like this. Because there's so much I want to attack, but I'll start off with the basics. Now, as far as superhero comic book films go, we've seen your Batmans, your Supermans, your Spider-Mans so many times throughout the course of cinematic history, basically. We've had 5 or 6 Superman movies, 6 Batman films. We're on our 5th Spider-Man movie right now. I think we're kind of exhausted of the rewrite after rewrite or the recreation after recreation. Now, in some cases, like the Dark Knight trilogy, it's been amazing. But again, we want to see some new characters. We want to see them fleshed out and drawn out. We want to see something that we've never really seen before. And I think this is where Black Panther really comes into play. Now, as far as black superheroes go, we haven't really had any black superheroes to write home about when it comes to the box office. I'll get to that in a second. So, first and foremost, you had Meteor Man, which is basically a parody of a superhero who just happened to be black. So, it's more satirical than anything. So, you can't really count that. And then you had Steel from Shaquille O'Neal back in 1997, which was a dud. And he just looked like a straight-up clown in that outfit that he was in. I love me some Shaq Diesel, but he was kind of Shaq to the Fool in that film. So, that's definitely a hard pass. And then you had Spawn, who really wasn't a superhero. He was more of an anti-hero. He was basically a much more raw version of Deadpool, if you can even believe that there's anything more raw than him. Because with him, he was basically a mercenary for the devil. So that's not something that you want your kids to aspire to. And it was more for an adult audience on top of that. Plus the CG in it was just way ahead of its time. It wasn't meant to be released in 97. Had it been released right now, different story. But again, different story on its own. But then in 1998, you had Blade. Now, Blade was a good stepping stone because Blade was the first Marvel property to be released as a motion picture. And this took place when Marvel was filing for bankruptcy. So they took a whole bunch of their rights and sold it off to different movie studios to try and recoup their assets. And lo and behold, it did. And now we have Marvel Studios. Blade was a good first start. And it just killed the box office because it was a character that the mainstream wasn't really familiar with. I was only familiar with Blade because he was in a couple of episodes of that Spider-Man cartoon that ran in the mid-90s. That was the only way how I was familiar with him. Also, it was a perfect storm of the times that they were in back in the late 90s. A lot of people were into the dark gothic stuff. Vampires were the thing back then with Blade, and then also Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So everyone was kind of cashing in on that wave that was happening. Even The Undertaker was sort of a pop culture figure around that period of time as well. So I think it was a perfect storm of all that combined. But then after Blade, we didn't really get a whole lot as far as a lead role is concerned. Sure, we had we had Halle Berry play the character of Storm in the X-Men, but it was more of a side character. And if you even notice, the Storm character was very toned down in comparison to the comics and even the cartoon series that ran in the mid-90s. And then speaking of Halle Berry, you had the Catwoman movie, which was kind of a bomb. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. It was a bomb movie. I mean that in a bad way. It did not do well, but I don't blame Halle because she wasn't really given much to work with. So that got scrapped. And then you also had, what else did you have? I think as far as lead roles go in superhero films, that was it. I think that may have been the last one because after that you had black actors playing sidekick roles. So you had Anthony Mackie playing the Falcon in the Captain America series. You had Don Cheadle play War Machine in the Iron Man series. That's really about it as far as movies go. And then if we're talking TV shows, you didn't really have a whole lot either, minus the Blade series that ran on Spike TV back in 2006, but that was only cut to one season. So what I'm trying to say is we as black people, we haven't had a lot to aspire to when it comes to seeing ourselves on the big screen as a prominent figure in the superhero genre, which is why this movie is so important for it to come out. On top of that, never mind superhero movies for a second. As far as a movie that has a majority black ensemble cast, you are now seeing somebody, or seeing a movie rather, that has more than your typical or your stereotypical cliches of a black film. So first and foremost, it's not some Tyler Perry minstrel show where you have somebody, dressed up as a bootleg Mrs. Doubtfire, and then on the side of it, you have people talking about infidelity and all sorts of blasphemy and stuff like that, and the mixing God and preaching religion to the masses as well. You don't have that in here. On top of that, you also don't have your stereotypical hood drama where, somebody gets shot in the hood and, now the gang members have to, get revenge on what happened to Tukey and all that. Like, you don't have that. You don't have the urban drama. You don't have your slapstick, bootleg comedy from Medea. You don't have any of that. You don't, and most importantly, and I almost forgot this, I don't know how I did, you don't have a movie, basically showing off the plight of black people from past centuries. Like, it's not another slave movie where we're in shackles and chains and being whipped on our backs and having us being separated by skin tone between house Negroes and field Negroes. You don't have any of that in Black Panther. So this is why it's so important that a movie like this is coming out. Because should this movie do well, then it's going to inspire other directors and film studios to make movies about, the prominence of black people and how they can actually live in civilization without any, type of stereotypical, cloud being casted over their heads, basically. So I think it's so imperative and important that this movie is coming out to display those themes of black people in a very prominent position. Now, of course, there are going to be some white people that are uncomfortable with that, and if that's the case, then don't watch the movie. And don't even try and tell me that it's racist or it's counterproductive or it's reverse racism. Just don't watch the movie if you're not comfortable with seeing yourself as a minority. Newsflash, we've been doing it for plenty of years. Try it one day. Just try it for one day. But above all else, I think that's the important thing that people really need to keep in mind, of that this movie could spark a change within Hollywood. Even before this movie, you look at a movie like Creed, where Creed had a mostly black ensemble as well. And basically, they kind of played off of the strength of the Rocky series, but at the same time, it was so stellar of a movie that it created its own identity outside of the Rocky series. A lot of people said it was the best Rocky film since Rocky 2. So that says a lot, basically, as a film, coming out of such a great series as that. And even though Black Panther is part of the Marvel Universe where it is derived from other films, it doesn't have a direct correlation to all the other Marvel films. This is basically its own film within the Marvel Universe. It may have a certain tie to Captain America Civil War, but that's only because the character of T'Challa, or Black Panther, was introduced into the universe with that film. But this film, by the looks of it, is going to have its own presence, basically. And that's all you can ever ask for. And it doesn't look as though there's going to be some sort of white savior complex happening or whatever. I think the Black Panther character, I would at least hope so, is going to take care of business on his own home front and not have to depend or rely on the great white savior, so to speak, to help save the day. So that's something that I'm really excited for. And I'm just enamored with the fact that they were able to draw from actual African influences and infuse it with their brand of fiction and just create a land of opulence and prominence as well. So that's going to be very rewarding to see, especially for me being of immediate African descent by way of Ghana and Nigeria. And even just watching the trailer, just seeing some of the fashion that they were donning in the trailer. I saw some of the garbs and the fabrics that they were using, and it rang a bell basically. So I'm very happy that they have that authenticity laced within the film, and that's all I could ever ask for as a moviegoer. Especially if I want to see somebody that looks like me. And more importantly, the kids as well. They're going to look at a hero in that film and say, hey, that's someone that I aspire to be like. Because at the end of the day, kids have imaginations. They want their imaginations to run free. They don't want to have to think of themselves as, oh, I could be the Black Spider-Man or the Black Batman or whatever. No, you could just be Black Panther. He's already black. I mean, the ironic thing is there might be a kid out there thinking to himself, hey, I want to be the white Black Panther. So either way, it gives young children, their own hero basically to look up to, somebody that actually looks like them. And he's not the only one. We saw last year the type of reception that Luke Cage got, and that was perfect. And Luke Cage is going to do his thing on the smaller screen, which is good. You want to have people taking over different facets. You also have Black Lightning, a DC product that's going to be premiering soon if it hasn't already premiered already. And then you have another series by the name of Cloak and Dagger, which stars a black man and a white woman as well. So that character's going to get some prominent shine. And there's also a character or a series that's going to be debuting on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it, but it has to deal with a young boy who has superpowers, a black boy, of course, and then a mother as well, that co-stars Michael B. Jordan. Also, it's co-produced by him as well. So black people are on the up and up when it comes to the whole superhero realm, and I love it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel like there may have been some black kids growing up that may have been discouraged by the whole thing because most of them were white and everything, but we are in a new day and age, and I'm glad that it almost feels like Black Panther is kind of sparking that change, and I love it. So I'm excited for this movie. I can't wait till February. February is not that far away if you really think about it. 4 months is going to be soft. It's going to come and go like it's nothing. Probably when January 1st hits, that's when I'm going to start, jonesing and, foaming at the mouth for some more Black Panthers. So I can't wait for it. I'm super excited, and I'm glad that people have like a figure or a beacon of hope to kind of look towards, and I'm really excited about that. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Hit me up in the comment section. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what your thoughts are about Black Panther and what this does to spark a change within Black cinema. Woo!